I'm not a writer.
Okay.
For those who
what we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing this fine Monday? I am well. I hope you are too. Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. And welcome to my masking hell. We're going to be doing a lot of masking today. So we had a long weekend, holiday period. So I didn't get nearly as much done as I would have liked over that time, mainly due to family being here, my wife's birthday, etc., etc. What can I say? So, lots of masking. Lots of masking. I did a lot of cleanup over the weekend, especially on the scratch-built backpack, the Hunchback as it has become known as. Lots of cleanup on that. Some of the joints and things where two of the pieces were glued together just, had little indentations, little surface imperfections that just had to be gone back, filled in, cleaned up, sanded, finish sanded, reprimed. It's part of the process, you guys. Part of the process. What can you do? What can you do? That's all part of building a really nice model. So, but hey, we're going to get into that momentarily. But let's first handle some business. Oh, Titans test team, get you some of that. Hit up childofmecha.com. Hit the store button at the top. You will find this shirt, long sleeves, because it's getting cold here. It's wintertime, becoming wintertime. So that's in the Child of Mecha store. Short sleeves as well, if you're down under. I know it's getting to be warmer weather down for you guys, so it's flip-flopped on the hemispheres. So hit up childofmecha.com, hit the store. You'll be finding t-shirts, hats, bags, other things. So yeah, hit that up. Also, the tools and things that I'm going to be using here today, if you want to pick some up of that, you can hit the Amazon link below here. If you're on YouTube, over on this side, if you're on Facebook. Added a few new things that I've found on Amazon that may be useful. Some useful sanding pads, some very high grit packs of sandpaper, like going up to like 7,000, 12,000 grit. So yeah, if you want, to try and get a high gloss finish on your model, that's the way to go, man. Gotta get the high stuff, high grit sandpaper. So, I think that's it. Maybe, yeah. So tools, streaming gear, books for inspiration, all that's on there. Check out the link below over on the side on Facebook. So, without any further ado, let's get started, shall we? What's up, everybody in the chat? Eric Mason. Hey, Tim, how was your holiday? It was all right, Eric. It was all right. Had some family over. You win some, you lose some with family. Had a nice, relaxing, long holiday week period, time frame, whatever you want to call it. And had my wife's birthday on Saturday. We went out to dinner. It was actually Sunday, but we celebrated it on Saturday, so that was fun. And man, back to the grind today. I just did not feel like waking up this morning. I'll be honest with you. Just did not feel that way. So, other than that, it's pretty good. Pretty good. So, thank you for asking, Eric. Appreciate that, buddy. All right. Camera 2. Here we go. Now, if you guys missed the last live stream, which was a week ago, which you really should go back and watch because it was a doozy. I showed you... Rutrow, what's going on here? Ah, that's why. Sorry about that, guys. When the camera window is minimized, it doesn't show up in the streaming software. So there we go. But hey, if you guys weren't here on last Monday's stream, I showed you this secret weapon. The secret weapon. This is just a 10 by 10 piece of acrylic sheet, and this is basically what I use to cut tape ever so accurately. We use this and that for circles, and shoot, I think the T-squares are still out in the other room from Gunpla Talk this weekend. And I'm going to need those. So, without any further ado, I'll be back. It'll just be a second. Here we go. Here we are. It's the professionalism I respect. Anyway, these are the Wave T-squares that I really, really love. And if you missed Gunpla Talk, these were two of my recommendations for holiday gift giving this season, along with obviously the chopper and some other tools and accessories and things like that. So yeah, so we use all of these tools in unison to come up with perfect masks for whatever piece that you're working on, and we'll do that a lot tonight, right? So just to recap, we're going to get the big one out of the way because I don't use the big one too much for masking. This is more for cutting styrene and stuff like that. But as you can see, we have the different widths of tape on three sides, right? And then this side is just kind of impromptu, whatever you need it for, right? So what we do is we stick the tape right along the edge, as close to the edge as possible. And then using the T-square, we just ride along that edge, and we can cut very, very accurate, small little strips of all little, you know, of the masking tape. Fuck, English is hard. Anyway, so we'll, you know, we use that to cut the small strips, and then obviously in the main field here, we use the circle cutter to cut circular masks, either masks to go inside of like thrusters, or inside of you know, circular molds or something like that, or negative circles to go around those circular molds. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. It's Monday. That's how I feel right now, you guys. I'm telling you. That's how I'm feeling right now. But hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Hey, Julie Stemsky, what's going on? Scuffle! Tim, have you seen that ultimate sander made by the same company as the chopper? I have not. I have not. I found some dude on YouTube that made his own made his own disc sander, a little miniature disc sander. I was like, damn, I could do that. But he used a laser cutter and stuff like that, so it's just like, I don't have a laser cutter. What are you gonna do? Anyway. Tim in a Titans test team shirt. Poggers? Poggers? Astria Kai, I don't know what poggers means, man. You lost me, dude. You lost me, brother. Arik45. Hi, dude. Finally followed your stream. By the way, you're masking custom parts. I am. We are masking a lot of custom parts tonight. Yes. So we're going to get into that. We're going to do a lot of that tonight. So just kind of shooting the shit right now. Just talking to people. So I see that Tex Merquise is in the audience tonight. What's up, girl? She has been kind enough to invite me onto her Build and Bitch stream this coming Saturday. So that'll be fun. We'll build and, I guess, bitch about things. Yeah, that'll be cool. So, hey, tune in. Go follow her on Instagram and stuff, and all those good places. So, and Twitch too, by the way. So that'll be fun. So tune in for that. Yeah, I'll post more when it gets closer. But that's this coming Saturday, you guys. This coming Saturday. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Kind of in limbo. Let me show you something cool before we get into masking. These 40th anniversary colors. You guys have heard me ramble on about these, right? I sprayed a new one today. And this is for the Hunchback backpack. And this color is pretty wicked. Look at that color. Look at this color. That is a pretty damn nice color. That is called Russian Aircraft Blue. Now, kind of hard to tell what you guys are seeing on screen, but from what I see on screen, it looks a little purplish, very blue. It's a little darker in person. Fair? And I'm going to tell you what, though, man, this is just baby butt smooth. I am telling you what. Man, this came out just like butter, man. I am super happy with this. These are of course some of the pieces that I had to go in and just go to town on and clean up, and really spend a lot of time on this weekend, just kind of cleaning up little mistakes, little joint and glue errors and things like that. But as an overall, I think they came out pretty nice. So I'm happy with them at this point. So, but man, that is a nice looking kind of grayish, purplish blue. Like I said, that's a little light on camera. It's a lot, well, I shouldn't say a lot darker. It's a little darker. It's closer to kind of a traditional navy color. Almost like the color just below here. It's closer to that, maybe a little bit more on the purple side. But, man, I dig it. I totally dig it. And then what I think I'm going to do with these little rocket pods here is I'm going to mask off the focus camera. Maybe if I get my hands out of the way. There we go. What I think I might do, these parts up here, these kind of nose cone tips or whatever, I think I might paint those orange. Just go wacky with it. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So there we go. Yeah. That's Soundwave blue. Yeah. Yeah, legit. rock and roll. All right, so let's pick a piece and start cutting tape, shall we? I think we're gonna do these parts right here. These parts actually I stripped and repainted. Whoops, be nice if they were actually on camera, right? RF Aurora. Andrew. Oh, Tim, is the shirt for your Jesta on sale on your store? No, not yet. Not yet. That'll be once it's done and released and all that. So, but we got these. These are cool. Oh, look at that. Stickers. Stickers. Anyway, all right. Let's get to work. Tired of messing around here right now. All right. So what we need to do. This is a simplistic piece. We're just going to be masking off this section right here. This top kind of raised detail right there. Hopefully that focuses. Maybe not. Focus. There we go. So this this main area right here, that's what we're going to be masking off. That's what we're going to be is left exposed. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some tape off the roll for this because, like I said, this is a very simplistic piece. Not a lot of complicated masking on this. So you don't need to cut really super precise masks. All right. Now, if you missed the last live stream, I showed these Edgiubas. I don't know. These little rubber brushes. These are for ceramics. These are really nice in kind of burnishing down the masking tape right around the edges of your exposed part. Really, really nice. They come in larger sizes, but this is kind of a smaller size, and this is just kind of a chisel tip, and really has been very, very useful. One of the methods that I've kind of really kind of migrated to because I used to use just use my tweezers and got in there and just kind of ran this along the edge just to burnish that down. But this the silicone tipped brush is a lot more gentle, so kind of moved on to that method rather than anything else. It just conforms right into that panel line that wraps around this this section, and man, it just puts that masking tape right exactly where you want it to be. Really, really good tool. Make sure we're on camera here, geez. Okay. All right, so there, there it is. So now this this part is pretty much masked off. So now what we have to do is we have to just tape over these other areas here that are still left exposed to avoid overspray. Because the last thing you want is paint getting on those. That would be bad. So that's where this nice big 18mm tape comes into play. Very useful for covering up larger surfaces. You know that's right. Ray, what's up, buddy? With the emojis. Ray's emoji game is strong, people. It really is. Alright, we're looking pretty good so far. Just got a little bit more just exposed there right on the edge, so we need to get that. Wrap that up, making sure all the surface is completely taped. Now, one thing that we have to pay special attention to on this particular piece, if it will goddamn focus, there we go, is this little indent right there in the middle, right? If you don't put a piece of tape right there in that little indent, that's going to take color and it's not going to look right. You don't want that. So we need to put a little piece of tape there. So that's where the precision cutting comes into play. It's a little less than 1 millimeter, so we're going to cut that off right there. And let's get this on camera. Let's zoom out a little bit so you guys can see properly. There we go. All right. So just a teeny tiny piece of tape, less than 1 millimeter wide. And that's going to go right in the middle there. And we'll get super zoom going here in just a second so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about here. Let's get super zoomed in. It's been a while since we super zoomed. Fiending for the super zoom. Boom. Ooh, look at that. Almost dead on. Look at this. Okay. And there we are. All right. So, tilt this bad boy up just a little bit. So there, right here, you can see this little 1 millimeter mask right in the middle there that needs to be inset right there for that gap. That's gonna pull it all together. That's gonna make it look good. Okay. So this piece is ready to go. Now, what I like to do, because I'm not going to be showing the process of painting on this stream, it's boring. Watching somebody stand over a spray booth and go, that's boring. You guys have seen that. Let other people do that. I'm not doing that shit. I'll do that off camera. Okay? I'm going to show you the stuff that will help you guys build better models, right? So, when I mask, I usually like to sit here for a little while and do multiple parts. Okay, let's get out of super zoom and I'll show you another thingy here. Get rid of the box. There we go. I like to have these little bins here, and I'll put masking tape on them to designate the color that each bin, or the parts that are in each bin, need to be painted. So this one here, gray 97, that's the color number for the Mr. Color hobby line, right? So that color is actually this dark gray. Forgot to paint the inside of this folding arm here, so it was folded down like this, painted that all, and then pulled it back, and that's still primer there, so that needs to be painted, right? So this is going to be gray 97. This is also going to be gray 97. That goes in that bin, and then when I go to paint, all I have to do is take this little bin over, and then I can paint all one solid color with multiple pieces. I don't have to, you know, stop, change colors, break down, clean, all that crap. No, that ain't happening. Efficiency. That's the name of the game. So I mask off a bunch of parts that need that specific color, or, you know, have multiple parts going at the same time, multiple bins going at the same time, and separate those out. And then I can just kind of work my way through the color, you know, the color palette at that point. So that, my friends, is it's efficient. It's efficient for me, right? Now, that may not work for you. Please understand that. That technique may not work for you. That may be way too boring for you. You may not want to work that way. That's fine. Whatever is efficient for you. I'm just giving my method, right? So there we go. All right, so do the same thing with this one. We're going to tape this up real quick. We'll get moving on to another set of parts. And you want to make sure that you get as much of the dust and debris and hair and all that crud and crap off of your parts. You know, if you need to, if you have some dust that's settled into your paint or something like that, not a problem. It's not the end of the world. Get you some high grit wet sandpaper, wet sand that sucker off, and then you're going to have a completely smooth surface again. If you need to paint it over again, paint it over again. Not a big deal, right? So I don't know if you guys could noticed or not, but right here there was a little piece of dust that settled onto the paint. And that's not a big deal because I can just kind of scratch that off with my fingernail. And that's going to be perfectly smooth now. That is now gone. And I'm going to paint over this anyway, so what's it even matter, right? Work smarter. There we go. All right, kids. I think this piece of tape is a little short for my tastes, so we're going to toss that. We're going to get another a little bit longer piece that can wrap over the sides and really get us good coverage when it comes to protecting the overall color of this piece. And that's much better. Wrap that around there. And there we go. Money. Money. Cool. All right. So let's do next bit. What are you guys doing in the chat? What are y'all doing? But how does your system work if you make a custom color, Tim? Oh, Andrew, that's a great question, buddy. I'll be honest with you, I don't really work in a ton of custom colors. I just don't feel the need to. You know? I just don't. I think the Mr. Color hobby line, the Mr. Color paint line, and Tamiya got plenty of colors. I don't need a custom color at that point. So. So, yeah, I don't really work in custom colors. Okay, wrap this up like a Christmas present here. And there we go. Cool. Let's get the big tape out here. Cover up the bare sections. There we are. All right. Julius Dembski, Tim, as far as the painting process, would you be willing to break down the thinning ratio, air pressure levels that you use for each paint brand and color, if it differs with each color you use? Actually, Julius, that's a great question, buddy. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, there's no good answer for it. Just not. Thinning ratios, there's no magic thinning ratio. What the target is the, I guess, consistency of skim milk, right? You don't want the paint to be too thick. You don't want it to be too thin. You're going to run into problems, obviously, if the paint is too thick. It's not going to spray correctly. It's just going to glob up and it's going to be a mess. If you have it on the inverse, if you have it too thin, it could spider web. It could not cover the piece appropriately, the whole nine. So, yeah, it's going to be, realistically, it's going to be kind of a feel thing. You know, you're going to have to mix in a little thinner, shake it up, test the look at the consistency, maybe pour in a little bit more thinner, sneak up on the consistency that you want to try and reach. That's going to be the main thing. Now, with different colors, yeah, you're going to have a different ratio of thinner to paint. White, yellow, red, all of those are going to be in need of a higher thinner ratio, especially white. White is by far the hardest paint color to make it lay down appropriately, right? Especially Tamiya white. That is just a pain in the ass. Mr. Color white is a little bit easier, but it's still challenging. Let's put it that way. Yellow is almost the same. Red is almost there as well, right? But if you are able to, like I said, just kind of sneak up on that consistency of skim milk, then that's when you're going to be in good shape. Now, as far as pressures go, I am one of the rare breed that does not use a gravity feed airbrush. I'll be honest. I use a siphon feed airbrush. So my pressures are going to be different from the pressures that you have with a gravity feed. Now, mind you, I have a gravity feed Iwata Neo that I will break out sometimes and use for gradations and things of that nature. But for the most part, for priming, painting, solid colors, things of that nature, I mostly use my Iwata siphon feed. It's quick, it's easy, it's efficient. I can change colors almost on the fly. It's just the system, like I said last time, the system that I gravitated to. The Twidget. Yay, I'm not the only one. We're Siphon brothers. Hey. Yeah, so I use a siphon feed. I have a little Sparmax twin piston with a tiny air tank on it, and I'm usually spraying around 20 psi, maybe between 18 and 20, right? Now, obviously, if you only use gravity feed, you can go lower than that, much lower, because you don't need the air pressure to come through to siphon that paint out of the paint jar. Obviously, that's where a gravity feed does have the advantage. You can go much lower on the air pressure. You can get much better subtle gradations and things. You can get gradations on a siphon feed, but you do have to be really careful, and you have to have super thin paint, and you have to go in nice light passes. So yeah, so as far as pressures go, a gentleman by the name of Paul Budzik, he has a wonderful YouTube channel, and he is extremely knowledgeable, way more knowledgeable than I am. I mean, the guy is a master at taking in knowledge of scale modeling, and especially on airbrushes. He is an airbrush historian. He fixes and restores vintage airbrushes. The man is just a wealth of knowledge. Definitely tune into his channel. Look at all of his videos, every single one, because you're going to learn so much, I promise you. What I get from him is that you want to essentially go low enough that the paint will spray appropriately. So with a gravity feed, you could probably get down, if you have a thin enough paint, to about 8 psi in some instances. But, you know, like you see in the chat, between 15 and 20, Bailey has said, I think is probably going to be in that range. He says for pre-shading, post-shading, highlighting, he goes down to 8 to 10. So there you go. Between 8 and 20, depending on your application, I think. So, but, you know, it's all variables, and it's all on how you thin your paint, and what you're painting, and how far away you're painting that piece, the distance between your airbrush and the actual piece. If you're closer, you don't need as much pressure. You're going to obviously get more coverage that way, but you do run the risk of building up that paint much quicker. So, you know, it's a variable type of thing, unfortunately. So, yeah. Sorvon over there on Twitch, holding it down for us. He says, I learned to work at 12-ish PSI so I wouldn't have to adjust when using Alclad. Then I thin my Mr. Color to work at that PSI. So there you go. That's just another method. So, yeah, for me, being a unicorn in this hobby, using a siphon feed airbrush, my pressures are going to be much different. So there we go. But hopefully that informs. Good question, Julius. Very good question. All right, back to it. Let's strap these bad boys back on. Yeah. All right, so we got this piece all taped up. We just need that little middle section between the gap here. We're gonna cut that and pop that on, and then this piece will be ready for paint. Just like that. Bang. Yes, sir. All right. Pop that in the gray 97 bin, and let's move on to another piece. This piece is a solid color. This is a one and done. So another thing that I do, there are going to be some pieces that only are going to need one color, right? And I start a couple bins, obviously. I start, the little miniature bins for different colors and things. But then I start a bigger bin for kind of the one and done pieces, as I call them. These pieces that only need like one color. And then also the pieces that I'm pretty much done with, like this, the middle section, the tubing here that I masked off with the yellow and the gray. That's all done. That goes in the bin. These pieces right here, these are one and dones. One color, done. They go in the bin. Now, I've heard many people in the past, they cringe. They cringe when they see parts rattling around here just in bare paint. I have no worries whatsoever, man, because this is Mr. Color we're talking about. This stuff is just bulletproof. I'm telling you, this stuff will not. I mean, as long as you prepped your parts appropriately, this stuff will not chip off. This stuff will not peel. You can rattle these around in here and it will be perfectly fine. Now, mind you, I'm gentle with them. I don't go shaking it like a maraca or anything like that. That's not going to happen. But you can totally have them in that bin all together and you'll be perfectly fine. I'm telling you, I've done it with all the models that have been in competition, and then a bunch that haven't. The Hummingbird, the Ozymandias, the Blue Destiny, all the Bears, Gundam Version Logic, this one, they'll be perfectly fine. Trust me. Trust me. So, or for LMAO, Bailey, LMAO, I was going to say Tim is the pigtailed gold one that everyone is trying to catch, apparently. Say what? Well, okay, hold on. I gotta backtrack because I clearly missed something, right? What the hell are you guys talking about? Just as long as you don't activate the NTD mode, Tim. Oh man, what? Scuffle says, in high school, my art teacher would make us practice writing our names with the airbrush prior to painting our actual piece every single day. Exhausting, but well worth it. Yeah. Nah, just the flow improver I'm talking, it's basically mild retarder. Okay. Trying to catch up. Well, I don't get it. I missed something. Oh well. I missed it. Gone is the moment. Damn it. Scuffle, throwing all your parts in one bin with a bit of sand and a good shake, is that a good way to weather your kit? No, dude, no. Billy says, you said you were a unicorn for using... okay, I get it now. You can't just say unicorn to a bunch of Gunpla geeks. That's true! Fair point. Fair play. I get it. I get it. All right. Let's move on. Jesus. And now the flood of unicorn jokes come flying in, everyone. Yay! All right. Everybody have their fun. It's a figure of speech. Man, you guys. All right. So let's get these little guys taped up. These are going to be a little bit more complex because the shape that we have to mask off has much tighter tolerances than the shape that we masked off just previously. So, first thing we're going to do, let's see, let's take a look at this piece and let's see how we attack this. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to cut some teeny tiny pieces. And let's get this moved over here, get out of the way. There we go. All right, so we're going to cut several 2mm by 6mm pieces. We're going to cut 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3 on the unicorn, 4. There. You assholes. Your unicorn jokes. Your psycho frame is showing. God damn it, Bailey. That's okay, that's funny. That's funny. I gotta admit, that's a good one. Alright, so let's take a look at these, shall we? Let's get, come on, spin it around. Let's get the camera focused right. Shaw. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. Focus. Oh, manual focus. There we go. Okay, so this piece is a little tricky. And I'm not sure if it's... Okay, so there are short bevels right here and right here on this piece. Now, the way that you want to attack this type of masking is you want to tape down the smallest distance first, okay? And that's going to be these corner bevels here, because that obviously is going to be the shortest run of masking that we're going to need, okay? And I'll explain why here in just a second, and I'll show you why we do the short ones first. Now, this is obviously just a general rule of thumb. It's not gospel, okay? Please bear that in mind. Okay, we get that done there, and then we'll put the other one on the opposite side here. All right, so now we've got these two short sides taped up first, right? The reason being, and I said this on last Monday's stream, is that we need to keep the rule of surface adhesion in mind. The smaller piece of tape that you have, the less surface adhesion it's going to be. The larger piece, you're going to have much better surface adhesion. Now, the reason why we put the small pieces down first is because the bigger pieces that we're going to pile on top of it help hold those pieces in place, and they help secure those pieces and lock them in, basically. Okay, so this big piece that we just basically strapped over top here, that's going to hold those pieces down, and that's going to make for a really, really tight, really sharp line. We get in here with our little silicone brush. We just kind of cram that tape down into the corner there. And that's going to be super solid. Super, super solid. Now comes the really intricate part. Because let's get super zoom in on this, because you guys are not going to be able to see it otherwise. that moved into camera there. That's going to be perfect for you guys. All right. It would be nice if it was focused, though. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, there we go. Now we're good and focused. All right, so the issue that we're going to run into with this particular piece is that this little rail right here on both sides is about half a millimeter. There's about a half a millimeter gap between this part right here and this plate, right? So we're going to have to cut a little piece of tape to go right in there, right in that gap on both sides. And that's just going to take trial and error. And you talk about low surface adhesion, that's going to be low surface adhesion. Big time. So we need to be super careful with it. But first, let's get you out of super zoom so you can see what we're going to be doing. Get rid of the box, and there we go. Rocky Road. All right, so, first things first. Let's see what we need here. Is that a half millimeter or a quarter millimeter? That may be even thinner than a half millimeter. Yeah, that's going to be super thin, you guys. So let's go. First things we got to do is let's get this other piece taped up first. Let's get these pieces off the board and get them out of the way. We're going to make that whole process a little bit easier. Okay. All right, so now zoom down just a bit. There we go. Now we're going to cut just a super, super small, thin little piece of tape here. And that's where a nice number 11 blade comes into play. I don't usually work with number 11 blades while I'm building. I just don't like the shape of them. But for cutting this masking tape, these number 11 blades are perfect. Especially these nice blue ones. You can get these in a pack of 100. These are the X-Acto X-Life. These are legit, you guys. Those gold blades that they have, don't worry about those. Those are a marketing gimmick, I think. The blue ones, yeah, the blue ones are the real deal. All right, so let's see. Can you even? Will this even focus? Yeah. See, that's a thin piece of tape, man. Scuffle says, do you ever use masking fluid instead of tape? No. No. Because masking fluid will not give you the nice hard lines like tape will. Oh, geez, you guys. This piece of tape is too thick. This piece of tape is too thick. Let's try the other side just to see what... Yep, too thick. So, get rid of that. Go back to the drawing board and let's cut something a little bit thinner. Maybe that. Man. Alright, let's see what that looks like now. That, I think, is going to be money. Yep, that's going to be perfect. But is it even going to stick? That's the main question. Will it stick? It's the laws of surface adhesion. You have to remember. Woohoo! It does. It sticks. Yes, sir. All right, let's get this moved into place a little bit more accurately because it's up on the vent right now. So we need to pull this little bugger down. man, and that's really where this little silicone brush is just magical, because it is just conforming and getting right into this 1/4 millimeter gap like it's nothing. Perfect. Perfect. Just perfect. Let's see. Huh? Andrew, X-Acto doesn't make hobby blades anymore. They went strictly medical. Really? I did not know that. Huh. Soravon over on Twitch. Masking fluid is good for camo since you don't usually want hard edges on that. Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. If you're trying to achieve like a woodland camo, you know, like a mid 80s, 90s woodland camo, then that's, yeah, that's a very good call, Soravon. I've also seen a lot of guys use sticky tack as a way to achieve that soft edge for camo as well, because what they'll do is they'll kind of come up over the putty, and that will leave a nice subtle gradation right along the edges. So yeah, very good point. Very good point. Bailey says, someone mentioned on the last stream that builders use liquid masking to seal off multiple layers of tape as a precaution. Interesting. I mean, me personally, I think it's overkill. But that's just me. You know, my tape is like rock solid anyway. Ricky Paul Carlson. I'm trying not to think of small jokes, but it's kind of easy when you drink. That's what she said. Nice. Nice. Scupple says, screw it. Gonna just bring my kit to a car decal place and have them vinyl wrap my condom. Ah, Scuffle. Ah, always good. Always good for a laugh, you. Always good for a laugh. Bailey says, my good friend Tomas. LOL, Scrub. Yes, Tomas is awesome. Used Ammo's camo masking putty on his GM Sniper ground build. He swears by it, and apparently it's reusable. Yeah, yeah. Putty should be. I mean, after all, you're just painting with it. It's not like it... I don't think the paint would transfer, you know, if you did reuse it. I don't think the paint would transfer to another model at that point, so... Yeah. Reuse that son of a bitch. Anyway. Alright. Teeny tiny masking tape. Part 2. Alright, let's see. Like, you're almost afraid that it's not even going to cut. Oh, yeah. See, like, this piece just way too thin. Falls apart. Fly away. Fly away home, little tape. Fly away home. This might be a little bit thick for our purposes. Ooh, wait a minute. I might have lied. Nope. Let's turn it around and see. Teeny tiny little tape. Come on, stick to the surface, damn it. There we go. Press that right in there, right in that little gap. Now, it got a little off center and it's sticking to the sides. And that can be a common problem with little pieces of masking tape this size. So you may need to kind of get in there, really kind of work that little piece of tape, work it into submission. There we go. Cool. All right, so there's the tricky part. We're done with the tricky part. So there we go. RF Aurora. Kinky. Let's see, Dwidget. Speaking of sticky tack, I use them instead of alligator clips because I'm lazy. There's nothing wrong with that. I use it too. I will mainly use the the alligator clips on little dowel rods and stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes if you don't have a good point to clip to on a part, you're gonna either have to use masking tape or sticky tack or whatever thing that you can rig up. So, Carlo Castro, how about candy coat, Tim? Candy coats are cool and all. They're not my thing. The thing with candy coats is that you need to have an absolutely pristine surface. Your surface needs to be 100% free of imperfections, divots, dents, rough spots. I mean, you have to spend a lot of time surface prepping. Tons and tons of time. Wet sanding, going to like the highest grit possible. At least 3,000, if not more. You're going to have to sand the entire surface of that model. Probably several times. Mind you, it's a beautiful outcome when when you're done, right? There's nothing much like a nice candy coat. But if you really want a nice one, you're going to see every single little imperfection in that surface if you don't get it knocked out before you paint. So multiple sandings, wet sandings at that too. You may even need to, take a t-shirt and just kind of polish the bare plastic to get a decent shine almost to the plastic. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but man, the results are amazing. Yeah, the results are amazing. Once you have your plastic and surface prepped and everything, then a good primer. What I would probably say is start with, like a Mr. Surfacer 1200. 1000 is probably going to be way too coarse. Start with 1200. You're probably going to need to wet sand that. And then you're probably going to have to move on to 1500. They make 1500 now in black and also gray. So whichever one of your choice, if you like the pre-shading look, then go with the black primer. If not, then the gray, the standard gray is a nice color. But you want the smoothest possible surface for that paint, and then obviously your paint is going to have to be super smooth. You may have to wet sand that, and you're going to have to do it gentle too, very, very high grit, just to take the imperfections out of that surface, because any even slight dip or orange peel or anything, it's just going to shine in the reflection once you get that candy down. That's what it takes, man. Ask the car guys. Right? So, Kira Yet over there on Facebook. What's up, Kira? He's our resident evil scientist, or in training, I should say. Good luck, Kira. He says, luckily, I do not need to do any masking job, but still suffering clearing the nub marks. That sucks, dude. Nub marks are bad. Especially on a competition piece. Oh! Yeah, dude, nub marks, it's just one of those basic things, man. You know, you want to use a good kind of quality nipper. It doesn't have to be God Hands. It doesn't have to be Tamiya. It doesn't have to be any of those high-end ones. Now, mind you, you can use that, but, you know, if you trim off, if you trim the parts off the runner with just a little bit of nub left, then you can go back in with a, you know, a nice sharp hobby knife, trim that down almost to the surface, then come back in with a file or some sandpaper, sand it flush, and then you're good to go. So, yeah. It's just, man, it's basic, one of those basic modeling techniques, buddy. He also says, what is wet sanding? Good question. Good question, Kira. Wet sanding, basically what you do is you have two types of sandpaper, dry and wet sandpaper. Wet sandpaper is usually a darker color, black, gray-ish, shades of, you know, all that. You use water. You know, you just basically get a little basin of water like I have here. You dip the sandpaper in that, and then you just go to town sanding. It's in my opinion better than dry sanding. Simply because it keeps the dust down, and it also creates a much smoother surface than dry sanding. You know, a 400 dry sand versus a 400 wet sand, you're going to notice differences, especially the little, you know, micro scratches that you get from the grit, right? So I always recommend wet sanding, no matter what, always. Saz Kisaragi? I'm sorry, Saz, if I'm mispronouncing your name over there on Facebook. What's the best way you get rid of nub marks? Like I said, trim it down almost flush, leave a little bit of plastic from the nub on the surface, trim it as close as you can with the knife, and then after that take a file or sandpaper and just kind of sand that smooth. That's the best way that I've, you know, that I have. It's what works for me. Let's put it that way. It's what works for me. So, hope that helps, guys. Hope that helps. Let's see. Oh, cool. Rock and roll. Thank you, Saz. Appreciate that, buddy. Let's see. USA Gundam Store nippers. Yes, they are coming out. Yeah. I want to get some. Hopefully. Kira over there, I think I should try the wet sanding. Thanks for the information. You're welcome, man. Absolutely, you're welcome. Wet sanding is the way to go, buddy. Wet sanding is always the way to go. It's a little messy. Have a paper towel or something like that around. But it's going to get you a much smoother surface. No doubt. Good luck. Let's see. GizmoCon Gunpla. What's up, Jonathan? Still waiting for reviews of Gundam Store nippers. Yeah. There should be some people with them soon. Some people. Oh, look at that, everybody. James Denise, Mr. Nozaku Boy is with us over on Facebook. What's up, James? You at work? It's like daytime down there, right, bro? Hopefully your day's going good, brother. So yeah, so the USA Gundam Store nippers are coming soon. So be on the lookout for reviews. Let's see. Scuffle, unless your battle tactic is to blind your opponent or make them tear up crying from how shiny your MS is, I'd say just stick with flat paint. In fact, I'm gonna go to my beamer right now and flat coat it. Nice. Holy shit. You guys, Scuffle is Scuffle's funny. I gotta admit, Scuffle makes my day. Oh man, James Denise is homesick, you guys. I hope you feel better, man. Being homesick sucks. Especially when the weather's getting nice, like down there, right? It's getting shitty up here. So, it's probably getting nice down there. So just working on my GM. Dude, yes. The GM Sniper 2. What a great kit. What a great kit. And, you guys, James right now over on Instagram, no Zaku Boy for those of you playing at home. He is right now in the midst of detailing and kind of plating. I guess what, it's your first time plating up a kit like that, right, James? It's looking good, dude. Cheers. Yummy. So go check him out. No Zaku Boy on Instagram. Definitely. Dean asks, Tim, should I buy the 00 Quanta? No. But I don't like 00 kits, so I'm probably the worst person to ask, dude. I guess if anybody in the chat has any experience with the 00 Quanta for Dean, fill him in. I'm not a big 00 fan. It's just not my style. I dig the anime. Don't get me wrong. I dig the anime. I like the designs and everything. Just the models, I'm just not. It's just not one of my things. So, let's see. Wet sanding, the best when working with resin. That's from Gizmo Con Gumpla. Yes, I agree. Tex Merquise. I don't have the patience for candy coating or the accepting spirit of flaws. Come on. GizmoCon Gumpla. No Zaku Boys. Dio was amazing. There you go, James. True believer. True believer. He says, thanks, man. It's about the 3rd attempt at it. Wow. Okay, but probably the most involved one. Yeah, it's looking good, brother. Looking good. Don't give up on that. Trying to read. The chat is just going so fast. The Dwidget. Well, if you want to buy, I can help you with that. Yes, he can. That's Therno. Therno Hobbies and Games, everybody on Facebook. Let's see. 01 Shield. I built the full saber, which is the old Quanta with a new sword. Eric 45 MG. And those weapons. Good luck. It's so weak. Ooh. Not a sterling review, right? All right. Anyway, let's get back to this thing. Let's get this damn piece masked up. Wow, it's 11:13 already. That's, oh my goodness. Crazy. It's getting late. I've just been bullshitting all night. I don't know. I just didn't really want to work tonight. I'll be honest with you guys. I just didn't want to. Some nights you just don't want to work on models. Some nights you just want to sit on your ass and watch TV. Maybe play a little bit of Final Fantasy VII on the computer, like I was doing earlier. Yes, Final Fantasy VII, the one from like 1997. Whatever. Y'all motherfuckers can't judge me. It's a classic. What can I say? All right. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to this. All right. So with this piece, we got these little bitty strands in the gaps here. Now we need to come down and get some pieces right on top of that strip there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut 6x3 pieces here. And there's no science in the sizes at this point. I just figure 3mm seems like a good size, right? Oh, look at that. Ken Sim. Yes, 1997. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, for Aurora. Still waiting for the Final Fantasy VII remake. That would be amazing. I would probably buy that straight out of the gate. I'm just saying. Scuffle. All right. Time for some WoW rating. Peace out, people. Thanks for the stream, Tim. And check that email I sent you about the sander. Cool. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Saz over there on Facebook. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with Final Fantasy VII. Now 8, oh boy. Yeah. Dude, 7 was a classic, man. 7 was an absolute classic. I remember playing that right out of high school. Spending hours on that thing. And I'll be honest with you, I think that game might have been the first game that I had on the original PlayStation. Maybe that and the first Gran Turismo. Yeah, I think so. Shut up, Alexa. Cancel. We'll turn her off so she doesn't beep. There we go. Yes, I have a dot in my room now. Thank you, Black Friday. It makes things a lot more convenient. Because I can turn on and off the lights in here with my voice. It's pretty cool. Watch this. Alexa, studio off. Oh! Alexa, studio on. How cool is that? Yeah. Little fidgety tape. Oh, Ricky Paul Carlson, man. He's having fun tonight, you guys. I know he said he was having a little drinky drink earlier. So he's having fun, man. We need to get him hooked up with Andrew Young when that kid's drinking. Drunk Andrew. Okay, you guys can party together. All right. Making our way around this piece. Now we have the longer sections around the venting system there. So now for that, we're going to need to turn this plate around. We're going to go 18 millimeter here. We're going to cut some 2 millimeter strips out of that. There we go. Would have been good if it was on camera, but you'll see it here in a second anyway. Not a big deal. All right. So these are nice long strips of masking tape here. Now, what we're going to do, because this piece, obviously, this piece tapers from the bottom to here. So we need a piece that will go the entire length of that, but then wrap over it as well. So that's why we needed a 18 millimeter. I don't know if the 10 millimeter would have cut it. Very carefully wrap this right around. Wrap that around to the bottom and press that into place. Now we go back with our silicone brush and really kind of smash that into the corner there. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're talking about right there. That's what we need. So now that side is done. Now we got to do the other side. So there we go. All right, Julie Stemsky. I have the grandparent of the Alexa hooked up to the floor fan. It's called the Clapper. Oh my God, Julius. Awesome. My goodness gracious. James Denise, haha, that rad. I bought a Metal Gear Solid a week before I bought my first PlayStation. Dude, yes! Metal Gear Solid. Oh, what a great game that was. That was the first game that really kind of, I guess, sealed the deal for console games for me, right? If you guys haven't played the OG Metal Gear Solid, do yourselves a favor. It's awesome. Like that one scene, I forget the character's name, but the mental dude with the skull for a face, where he basically takes over the console and he rattles your controller and everything. That just flipped the whole game for me. Just crazy. Man, PlayStation. That was a good console, you guys. All the PS4s and Psycho Mantis. Thank you, Saz. Thank you. Over on Facebook, Hasaki Arts. Psycho Mantis. Yes, that's the one. That's the dude I'm talking about. Hooking it up. Tex Marquise. Raiden. No, Raiden was... You know what? Raiden was mad cool, too. I actually had a figure of Raiden back in the day. It was a Todd McFarlane figure, and man, was that cool. Was that a cool figure? Wish I still had it. I don't know what happened to it. Got lost over the years. Probably got thrown away or something, I don't know. Lost in the mix. Shit, it could be in one of these boxes over here. I don't even know. Yes, Kenneth Sim. He'll read your memory cards. Yes. Dude, it freaked people out. It freaked me out, you know? James Denise, yeah, I was about 12 when that came out. Good times. Yes, it was. I was just fresh out of high school, so I was 18, so I was a little bit older. Let's see. Tex Marquis never played. I don't know. Never played Wild Guess. No, Raiden was was the ninja in the first one. Yeah. Hasaki Arts. Did you ever get around to Phantom Pain? No. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge gamer. I just am not. I don't have. I don't have any consoles. I don't play consoles. I just. You know, I just can't. I can't convince myself to buy them and then buy a $60 game, right? Like, the breadth of my gaming right now is a Steam sale, where I can get a game at like 60, 70% off. Yeah, that's me. I will wait until their summer sale or their Black Friday, Thanksgiving sale, or their Christmas sale, or whatever sale that they run, and buy a 5, 6-year-old game for $5, $7.50, $10, right? Anything over that, whatever, no way. I ain't playing it. I don't got time for that. And then obviously, you know, time constraints too, because I have to build. But, you know, sometimes, like I said before, sometimes there are just those moments where you just do not want to work on a model. You don't want to sit down at your bench, you know? And you just want to play a little Final Fantasy VII and relive the 90s. Sometimes it's just what you got to do. The 90s were fun. Wish you guys were there. this little bastard buttoned up here. There we go. Boom. Yes. That one part took half hour, 45 minutes. One part. One freaking part. I'm telling you guys. All right. Let's get, we'll get zoomed in here and say, okay, hold up. Let's go back in the chat because you guys are talking about fun stuff. Let's see. Let's see. R for R. Wait, Tim collects something other than Gundam. Not really. Arik 45. Wait, is it me or is Steam broke? It wasn't earlier. I mean, I didn't buy anything. I was just on there, just kind of looking through my my wish list and everything, see what was on sale. Yeah, Eric Mason. Yeah. There's a special on Steam right now. Yeah, I bought what? God, what was the game I bought? Castles and Turrets, something like that. It's a simulation game. It's like castle building game. It looked cool. It was $5. I was just like, yeah, I'll take a shot at it. It had good reviews, so yeah, why not? 01 Shield. Yep, I waited for 80% Fallout 4 Game of the Year to buy. Yes! See, and Game of the Year editions. Screw the downloadable crap. Give me the full game, the full experience, right? Bailey says, I wait too. Just snagged Far Cry 5 for $20 in addition to Battlefront 2 for $8 at Best Buy. Nice. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Kenneth Sim. I did see the PlayStation Classic just came out. I'll be honest with you, it's tempting. It's very tempting. But I don't know. I don't know if I can justify it. My wife bought the Nintendo Classic, and it sits there. It collects dust. I would be afraid that if I were to get a PlayStation Classic, it would do the same thing, unfortunately. So I have to admit it to myself. So, Text Marquise, I never finished Final Fantasy VII. Oh, girl, you're dead to me. So disappointing. No, I'm playing. Let's see. GTA 5 is worth it, but not for the full price they are still charging for it. Yes, GTA 5 was great. That's from Tex. GTA 5. Let's see. Oh, what happened? There we go. Oh, lost me at Chocobo Racing? Come on. Chocobo Racing was kind of fun. The breeding and everything, that was kind of like stupid and lame, but the racing was kind of fun. So, let's see. GTA 5 gets boring quickly. I don't know. I thought the story was interesting, right? The characters I thought were good in it. That's my opinion. James Denise. Just loved that you had to swap the controller from port 1 to port 2 so you couldn't read your mind. Yes, back to MS Metal Gear Solid, the OG edition. Yes, James, I know, right? Saz over there says, yeah, it was crazy and needing to read the back of the CD case to contact Meryl. Dude, so much original things in that game that just made that game so great. Just so great. It was awesome. Eric Mason, me, I have a gaming laptop and over 70 games that I bought on Steam just to show you how that site is addictive. Yes. My Steam account's probably got a good number of games on there. Probably not 70, maybe 30, 40 maybe. And, you know, mind you, most of those are old, cheap games. like, hands down, my favorite game of all time, Borderlands 2. I love that game. If I could have a real life claptrap, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I would. I admit it. Just such a great game. I mean, I could literally sit there and play through every character, and just have a ball doing it. Borderlands 1, great game. Not as refined as 2 was. The prequel and everything after 2 was just like, it was alright. 2, just absolute classic. I wish I had like, an Oculus Rift. What is it? Oculus Rift? I don't know. I think that's the name of it. But they've got a VR version of Borderlands 2 that just came out, and I'm like, oh, I want to play that now. You know, walking around and being stupid in Borderlands and everything. That would be great. So, all right, let's show you guys this part real quick. Let's get super zoomed in so you can see how crispy this part looks. Let's get that moved into the box, shall we? And then, boom! Look at that. Just perfectly masked off. Look at that. Look at that. That's sweet looking. That's money. That's money. That, my friends, and obviously, it looks like still got a little area right up here that I got to tape off, and then probably tape around the sides and stuff like that too, just to be 100% safe. But man, that looks like a winner in terms of masking. Welcome to Masking Hell, everyone. I'm your host, Beelzebub. Oh, we talk about games and 80s cartoons and other dumb stuff that we figure out and all that. It's fun. I think we have fun. I have fun. You guys are watching, so you must be having fun. I don't know. Eric Mason, what kind of tape are you using? Wonderful question. I am using Tamiya jumping masking tape. I am using the Tamiya masking tape. This is the only masking tape that I use. Comes in 3 different sizes, 6, 10, and 18 millimeters, and they are an absolute joy. If you can really call masking a joy. But they're a joy to work with. Let's put it that way. Okay? There we go. Alright, so let's finish this piece up. Let's tidy up the edges. Mask off these pieces here so we don't get overspray on any of the fiddly bits. Let's spin this around here. Let's get a few pieces. We're going to go 4 millimeters by 10. We're going to cut 2 pieces of that. Boom. And we are going to pull that. Whoop, didn't come off. Pull that off. And now we're going to just kind of slap these on the sides here. Just kind of hold down that those long side pieces. We'll kind of lock those into place. Help hold those down. It'd be great if I was on screen. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Other side. Is it on screen? No, come on. Get on screen. Crazy. Oop. problem is we don't want it coming up and covering any of the other masking tape and areas that we want left exposed. That is always the tricky part when it comes to applying this masking tape to protect from overspray, right? Okay, so now let's switch it around here to the 6mm. Let's get some 4x6mm pieces there, and that should finish this part off completely. Now, another thing to keep in mind when you're masking is you want to try, if at all possible, sometimes it's just not possible, but you do want to try to leave a place for you know, your clips and things like that to grab onto. Like I said, sometimes that's just not feasible. Sometimes it's not going to happen. But, you know, you want to try your best. Try your best. Sound like Bob Ross. Happy little trees. Happy masking. Ugh. No, Bob, we're not happy masking. If masking was a good thing, I'd be happy. Okay. And then sometimes you have to do what I'm doing right now and trim the piece of masking tape on the fly. Just to make it work. Oops, wrong knife. Oh, all right. Eric Mason, yes, the silicone brush here, you can actually get this on Amazon. So check the Amazon link just below, and it's in there. So yeah, you can get these right on Amazon. Like I said, they come in 2 different sizes. These are the smaller ones, and you get like a pack of these, right, in different brush shapes. This is just the square chisel shape that I'm using, and then you get some bigger ones, like kind of this size, right? And you kind of get those in the same kind of shapes and stuff. So yeah, just check the Amazon link, man. They're right in there. You can find them. I have faith. Okay. Get that pushed down, wrap it around. Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Oh no! Oh, flashbacks of the 90s. All right, so you guys, that piece now at right around the 45-minute mark, that's done. So you can see how much time masking takes. Masking takes a lot of time. It's not fun, very tedious, super huge pain in the ass. But it's worth it, unfortunately. It's worth it. Anywho, let's see. Scuffle says, actually, there were a couple episodes of Bob Ross where he masked off a section of canvas to get a spherical blacked out border effect. Yes, I've seen those, actually. I love Bob Ross. I watched his show when I was a kid, and then I still tune in on Netflix because they have a bunch of his episodes on Netflix. So sometimes when I just want to chill out, I have like 20 minutes to kill, flip on Bob Ross, watch him make a cool painting. So yeah. Let's see. Eric 45. By the way, Mazinga Z Kit is decent, but too pricey. Adios. Take care, buddy. Scuffle. Bah. Raid cancel. Womp womp. Bailey says, Eric Mason, check the link to Amazon. Yes, to the Amazon page. Description's in there. Good deal. Comes with 2 different sets. Yeah, it is a good deal. I think it's like 10, 12 bucks for both sets. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, Tex Marquise, it's not bad. It really is. This is my least favorite part of the entire building process. I hate masking. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But as someone said earlier, or it might have been on Instagram, someone said peeling off the tape, it's a pretty good feeling. I have to admit that, yes, that is a pretty good feeling. So, all right, let's start off with something. Start off another one that's different, shall we? Because I don't want to go through that again right now. I really don't. Yeah. Soravan. Soravan over there on Twitch, he says, I would not wish masking on my worst enemy. I kind of feel the same way. Yeah, I do. Man, yeah. I kind of feel that way myself, buddy. Masking is just super, super tedious. If I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it. But you're never going to get a good paint job without masking. Just not. You're not going to bring out the details. Having it all one solid color. You know, look at like this piece right here. If this was all red, it would be completely boring. A lot of these details would just get lost in the paint color, right? The pieces that I painted the light gray, now they pop. They show. You can see them. It brings attention to them, right? That's why we mask. That's why we paint details. You know, I mask. Some people hand paint the details, and that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, right? Me, I don't know. Maybe I'm masochistic this way. I mask them off and I paint them and I airbrush them, simply because that it's just, you get a better paint application, in my opinion. So it is what it is. Bailey signing out for the night too. Take it easy, Bailey. Thank you, buddy. Take care. Hasaki art. Painting tiny little details are just bad for old men like us. What are you calling old man? I ain't old. You're only as old as you think. I am not that old. I am in my prime. As Val Kilmer would say in that movie Tombstone, which is a wonderful movie, by the way. If you guys haven't seen Tombstone, such a good movie. So many lines, quotable lines in that film. Well, I'm your Huckleberry. Such a great movie. Alright. This piece is looking pretty good. What I want to do is mask off this added plate right here. Right in there. So, that's what we're going to be doing. Now, the troublesome part is that this plate is only about 1 millimeter away from this edge. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do a little bit of masking artistry. As if this wasn't masking artistry already, right? But what we're going to have to do, we're going to take this down first. We're going to tackle this first. We're going to cut about a 1 millimeter, a little bit less than 1 millimeter strip of 10 millimeter here. And we're going to lay that down right next to that plate. Pop that right there. Move that a little bit closer to the piece. And now we will use our little silicone brush to just jam that right into the panel line. Get that nice, super close. Now, the reason that I didn't want to wrap a piece around the corner is because trying to wrap a piece of tape that has more surface area on this side and then wrapping it up onto a much less amount of surface area, this side will pull off. It'll pull away from the surface. So what we do is we put down an initial piece first just to keep that edge nice and sharp, right? And then now what we can do is we can put a piece over here and then start to wrap that up onto the side. The tape will stick onto here, and if it doesn't, there's just a little bit of overhang from this piece to where it will seal off that corner from any overspray and stuff, right? So that's a little bit of a tricky thing. A little bit of a tricky thing. Let's see. Julius Demsky, you're a daisy if you do. Love it. I love it. Tex Marquise, I'm struggling to remember if you were pushing Tombstone on the kiddos at SCGMC. I don't think I was. Yes, William Williams. He's down by the river walking on water. Love it. Tex Marquise, memory is a little blurry, right? Scuffle, it's all fun and games until you throw out your back picking up a piece of your gunpla off the ground. Only happened twice this year. Nice. Julius Demsky, yeah, and then you hear about people that roll their car and walk away without a scratch. Yeah. Eric 45, back to take my bank account. Go get him, Tiger. Oh, man. But no, Tex, I don't think I was quoting Tombstone. I don't remember quoting Tombstone. Saz, I'm your Huckleberry. Yep, classic line. Classic line. Oh, that whole movie is just a triumph of cinema. It's so good, you guys. You have no idea. Kurt Russell was amazing. Val Kilmer was amazing. What's his name? Michael Biehn was awesome in that movie. So many good actors. So many good portrayals. Now, obviously, it may not necessarily be 100% factually accurate to the history. But you know what? We're going to go on the Braveheart rule here, and we're going to suspend our historical accuracy feelers, and we're going to just simply enjoy the good movie that it is. I think that's fair, right? Yeah, I think that's fair. Speaking of Braveheart, if you have Netflix, check out Outlaw King. That was a good one. I liked it. That was a good one. That was a good one. Happy that they made it. I am. Happy that they made it. Boom. Alright. Whoop. So we continue working on this front skirt piece here, right? Let's get the visor down a little bit here so we can see what we're doing. And then we're going to pop the corner piece right in there. Now, obviously, I deviated from the rule that we had mentioned earlier about affixing the two shortest pieces, right? This is one of those situations where you can. normally what I would do if this had a larger surface area around this plate, I would tape down these two beveled edges first, like we did the last time. But since this doesn't have a lot of room over here, we're going to tape up the sides first, and then we'll attack those bevels, and then we'll lock those down with the piece underneath, and we'll just wrap those all together. So sometimes you do have to deviate from the rules, right? So William Wilms, he says, tonight I want to watch Kurt Russell in The Christmas Chronicle. Get some holiday laughs in. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Scuffle. Just this one front skirt piece reminds me of the Wing Gundam from Gundam Wing. Really? I don't see it, but okay. Eric Mason, ever considered using liquid mask instead of tape? You know what? No. And I actually answered this before. Liquid mask is not nearly as accurate and hard-edged as masking tape can be. So, no, for my money, I am always going to be using masking tape, no matter how much I hate it, and no matter how tedious it is. I will always use masking tape over masking fluid. So it's just one of those things. You can't get the same hard edge from masking fluid, and the accuracy you can't get as well as compared to traditional masking tape. Just one of those things. But good question nonetheless. RF Aurora, there you go. Die Hard, best Christmas movie ever. I'm not sure if I would agree with it, but still a very good one. Definitely within probably top 5. For my money, probably the best Christmas movie ever is Scrooged with Bill Murray. I mean, come on. You can't get much better than that. You can't get much better than Scrooged. Like, every part in that movie is absolutely quotable. Okay. So now we've got the perimeter of this plate all taped up. Now the problem comes in to the high plateau here of this upper piece. We need to tape the kind of the wall here above this plate. That can get tricky because, again, you're wrapping tape over a corner, right? So we have more surface area than we would have on the side here, obviously. We've got probably a good 2.5 millimeters of surface area. But the other issue that comes into play when you're masking a wall like that is that you have to mask up the side of the height of this plate, right? So we need to do that first to hold those down, and then we can mask off that wall. Okay? So to do that first, we are going to cut another 1 millimeter strip from our 6 millimeter tape. And my head was in the way. Sorry about that. So we'll tape up this way. We want a little, just a little bit of overlap. Just a teeny tiny bit of overlap on the strip just below it. And that will help keep that edge nice and crisp. Okay, so there's that piece. Now we have to do the other side, and we can use actually a little bit of a thicker piece, maybe 2mm, for the other vertical. And again, you want to just a little bit of overlap on the piece below, just to keep that edge nice and sharp. But if it would come off the damn tweezers, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Okay, lay that down right in that corner, just like that. And just jam that right into the panel line. And now our two verticals are in place. So we've come up the height of that plate, so now we can just tape off the back wall. For that, I'm just going to use a strip right off the roll of 6mm. And we're going to get that right in the corner as closely as possible first. We want to make sure we burnish this surface before we even start to attempt to wrap it over the corner. We want to make sure all the air is out of the underneath of this piece of tape. Okay, and then we wrap it around the rest of the walls here first, before we start putting it down onto the top of the plateau surface. All right, so there's, come on, focus, 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 manual focus, there we go. All right, so there is what we're working with right now. This is, the tape is still not affixed to the surface of the plateau that came up, but it is affixed to the walls around. Now this plate is completely, basically completely masked off. It's completely quarantined off. That's exactly what we want to see, right? So now we come back in and we just kind of treat this like you're wrapping a Christmas present or something like that. And you just kind of want to lay that tape down in sections, and see how I did some different folds there? That will help keep those corners intact, keep that surface affixed, and keep that tape properly in place. Boom. There we go. There we go. Booyah. So there we go. That's how we wrap out that particular shape. Then what we would do is, like the piece before, just use some big pieces of tape to wrap around the rest of the surfaces, making sure we don't get overspray on that. And then this piece pretty much is ready to get sprayed. Fun, right? Masking is fun, said no one ever. So there we go. Masking hell. Masking hell, everyone. Let's go to camera 1 and finish this out. It's now 12 a.m. here. Another great training video with great info. Thanks. Thank you, Julius. Appreciate that, buddy. Let's see. Eric Mason. Or the original 1938, A Christmas Carol. That is a classic. That is a classic. But, for my money, Scrooged. Scrooge is definitely the way to go. Michael Wine. Gundamonium. Over there on Facebook. What's up, Mikey? He says, what are you using for a burnishing tool? That's a great question. Let's go back to camera 2 just real quick so I can show Mikey. This, if the camera will focus, is a silicone brush. It just has like a silicone kind of brush tip here, and it's used for ceramic painting. So like ceramic, like bowl makers and plate makers and stuff like that will use this instead of a brush, I guess, on when it's still clay or whatever, to paint on any details and stuff like that. So they use, focus camera. There we go. So they use this to paint on any details on, I guess, that unfired clay or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, these are great. I use these to just burnish down the masking tape, and they come in a pack like this. So a bunch of different shapes and stuff like that. You got a pointy one. You've kind of got like almost like a kind of a blade edge. This one's just kind of your standard chisel edge, right? And these are wonderful. Like I said a little bit before, I've kind of migrated to these as the main kind of burnishing technique to really press down the masking tape. I really love these things. And I have check the Amazon link below. Actually, it would be on this side for you, Mikey. Where can be? Yeah, Amazon. Check the. There's an Amazon link in the description for the video. Click on that, and it's on there. I linked those and sourced those out already on Amazon. I think they're like maybe 10, 12 bucks, maybe even cheaper than that, and they should still be on Prime. At least they were when I bought them. But you get two different sizes. You get these smaller ones, like this, and then where'd that go? You get bigger ones like this. You get like 5 or 6 each, something like that. So yeah, great little tools. EGUBAS, if the camera would focus, probably not. Yeah. EGUBAS. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, that's what I'm using. Great little tool. Great little tool. Yeah. So Ultraman Dyna over there on YouTube says, I have tried to mask parts similar to how you have done it on this piece, but they never look so good, and I've had the problem of paint coming off. The paint comes off the adjacent parts / sides. That right there, my friend, is probably going to be due to surface contaminants. That happens a lot on corners and things like that. What happens is a buildup of body oils from your fingers. So before you paint, throw them into a bath of 91% isopropyl alcohol. That will dissipate any body oils and surface contaminants that you may have on the surface. Once you take those out, make sure you wear rubber gloves, so not to recontaminate the surfaces. But yeah, that's, if you're getting paint pull off of like the corners and edges and things, that's normally what it is, unfortunately. So yeah, 91% isopropyl alcohol bath will fix that, no problems. Yep. So he also says, is it because I have not let the paint dry enough, or is it because I have put on the paint too thick? No, if it's pulling, like I said, if it's pulling off of the sides like that, and if it's pulling all the way down to bare plastic, it's probably surface contaminants. If the paint is pulling off only to the primer, then it could be, a paint issue, but more than likely it's still probably surface contaminants, body oils getting on those edges and things, because that's where they build up the most, is on the edges. So either use rubber gloves, or like I do, whenever I sit down to work on a model, I always wash my hands first, like clockwork. It's the first thing I do before I even come in this room. I wash my hands, and so they're perfectly clean. And then I try not to touch my face or anything like that, because that's where oil builds up on your face and stuff. So, Scuffle says, "Can we see the parachute progress before you go?" Sure. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's in the same state it was before, but I'm still very proud of it, right? We're going to have to zoom out so you can see the whole thing, but yeah, we can get a shot of it before we go. Look at that. I actually did pre-shading on that. I might go back and put another coat of green on there just to kind of tone it down a little bit, but yeah. Okay, Ultraman Dyna. It pulls off only to the primer. I use Mr. Color paints. Okay, so if you're using Mr. Color, then what should be happening is a chemical bond between them, since they are solvent-based paints. So if you're not getting that chemical bond, more likely than not, it's probably going to be body oil getting on, built up on those edges and everything. So just like I said, keep your hands clean, or use gloves or something like that, and trust me, that will go away almost instantly. So yeah, but yeah, so here's the parachute, right? And the rigging was all done. This was a super huge pain in the butt, but it's all anchored in here with these little pieces of plastic. They're all anchored down, and then obviously wrapped through the air vent there, and then super glued into the grooves. And then I just kind of finished it off with some half round tubes to kind of finish the look. So yeah, so there's one of the parachutes. There's three. They all look like this basically. So I think they came out pretty good. The rigging was a super huge pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie. You thought masking was bad. Rigging a parachute is also bad. It's just terrible. Anyway. Ultraman Dyna. Sounds great. Thanks, man. I will do that. Good. Hope I can help, man. Hope it turns out good. Scuffle. So cool. I almost thought it was an acorn squash if I didn't know it was a parachute. LOL. But good job. Man. Scuffle always got the random quotes, but that's cool though. That's cool though. So, all right, boys and girls, we're calling it a night. It's late. I'm gonna go play some Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I admit it. That's what I'm gonna do. But first, before we go, if you want one of these Titans Test Team shirts, you can get one too. All you got to do is hit up chowdermecha.com, hit the store button up at the top. You can see t-shirts, hats, bags, all that good stuff. Also, if you're interested in any of the tools that we used here tonight, especially these cool little silicone brushes. Let's go back to camera one. Especially these little silicone brushes, all you got to do is hit the Amazon link just below here on YouTube. This side on Facebook, so Mikey Wine, hit up the Amazon link right over here, buddy. And you will be transported to the page that I have curated, sourced out for you, all that good stuff. You'll find tools on there, supplies, materials, things of that nature, books for inspiration, and then also streaming gear if you're into that. So, until next time, guys, we'll be back here on Wednesday. It's a regular week this week. It's like the first one we had in like a month. There might actually be 3 streams this week, you guys. Imagine that. But until next time, thank you everybody for watching. Love each and every one of you. Build something cool. Stay safe. We'll see you Wednesday. Night, everybody.